Meanwhile, in Spain, Real Madrid has announced the re-signing of Carlo Ancelotti to a new contract that will keep him with the Spanish Giants through the 2025-2026 season. Great news for the merengues. The new deal comes after months of speculation that the legendary Italian manager would leave Real Madrid to coach the Brazilian national team, which is currently being led by interim coach and Fluminense boss Fernando Diniz. A potential Ancelotti move to Brazil was complicated even more by the removal of former Brazilian Football Federation president Ednaldo Rodrigues from office by a local Brazilian court. Why? Well, according to them, some voting irregularities in the Brazilian Federation's elections. FIFA is threatening to ban the Brazilian clubs and national teams from international competition if the Brazilian Federation replaces Rodrigues, who had been the official who promised Ancelotti would coach Brazil. A lot to unpack there, so let's get back to you, Ali.
Thank you, Freddie. And now joining us to talk more about this breaking story is our good friend Guillaume Balaguer, who we will just not let enjoy his vacation. Guillaume, thanks so much for taking the time to join us. As Freddie just ran through, there's been a lot of back and forth about Ancelotti's future. Are you surprised by the timing of this announcement?
Not fully surprised, because I think in the last few weeks we started hearing noise from Real Madrid saying, you know what, there is no real reason why we shouldn't renew Carlo Ancelotti. But this is Real Madrid. So the situation tends to be like this. You want to be at Real Madrid? Prove it. And of course, everybody knew that there was an offer from Brazil. So next, it was like, Ancelotti, what do you want to do? And Real Madrid have made Ancelotti sweat a little bit from the moment that, must have been 2 months ago, where Ancelotti said, I'll wait to the last minute for Real Madrid to put an offer on the table. Once they did that, it took no time for everything to be agreed, because you actually explained very well the context of the situation of the Brazilian national team and the federation, but also because it just feels right that Ancelotti stays. The synergy is very, very good with both the veterans, if you like, and certainly the youngsters. And every time he's had a problem, something to solve, he's actually done it and solved it. This season, 2 or 3 major things he had to sort out. How do we do if Modric hasn't got the dynamism of the past and Kroos is going to be our engine in the middle? Can he do it on his own? Well, let's put Valverde next to him. And he has worked in those 2 holding midfielder role. And how about if Vinicius is injured? Well, should we just put Rodrigo in the middle? He worked. What do we do with Jude Bellingham? Actually, he thought, should we put him closer to the box? And of course, it's been a success. So there is no real reason, as Real Madrid said, for Real Madrid not to keep him. But they wanted to see what Ancelotti really wanted to do to stay. And they've seen enough, and he's staying put.
Guillaume, Ancelotti, by many, me, wanted to see him at the helm for the Azzurri. And that Brazil plan seemed to really put a wrench in all of that. Do you think that now with this contract extension that could potentially come to fruition post-2026 for the Italy side?
Now we're entering in the realm of speculation a little bit, because what is clear is one thing. Ancelotti fits Real Madrid. And it fits him now, and let's see in 2026, because quite clearly you're talking about a club that requires a particular type of manager. And the list that could have replaced Ancelotti were people that are certainly developing, like Xabi Alonso, like Raúl, like Roberto De Zerbi, but he suits Real Madrid. He did say that at club level, Real Madrid will be his last job. So in 2026, let's see where Italy is, let's see where Brazil is. I don't know, let's see where Spain is, or England. They may be looking for managers as well, because he will be welcomed with open arms by either of those sides. Obviously, at home, he will have a bigger reception, but he's the kind of manager that will suit any group of players that requires somebody that knows how to deal with egos, but has got also the ability to read the game very well and adapt it to whatever he's got in his hand.
Guillaume, look, this is incredible. Obviously, an incredible manager. 10 trophies at Real Madrid. It's absolutely unstoppable. It's a weird timing, right? It feels a little early. But what I really want to ask you is, what do you think this means for the future of Real Madrid's signings? Because there's so many questions in the air. Mbappe, will it or won't it happen? Some other big names that are linked with Real Madrid. I'm sure a lot of players want to play for Carlo Ancelotti. How do you think this fares out?
Let me tell you a little bit how it works at Real Madrid in terms of signings. Ancelotti has got a tiny role. The biggest role is Florentino Perez, who will decide on the strategic signings, either Mbappé or Haaland for next season, Alphonso Davies maybe, and then José Ángel Sánchez, the number 2, who will actually put together alongside the manager what's required in particular places, no bigger names. Over 100 million, put it this way, it has to be Florentino Perez. Less than 100 million, then it will be everybody else. So it does look like if Ancelotti gets told, Ancelotti who dances like a that dance, doesn't he?
He looks like the inflatable thing in front of the car shop.
But anyway, he can do whatever he wants, including smoking cigars if he wants to. Everybody loves him. Anyway, if there is a strategic move like for Haaland or for Mbappé, he's not going to say no, is he? He's not going to say no. But he'll have to resolve on the pitch whatever players he gets into the squad. And of course, Florentino Perez does one of those big names. The rest, as I say, Alphonso Davies or everybody else they want to sign, that will be obviously a bigger conversation with the manager. But the manager of Real Madrid, somebody, as I say, that do you know how to cook a paella? You put a little bit of the rice, a little bit of meat, and then you just move it a bit, and then just make sure that you come out with the paella right at the right time. That's what Ancelotti does, just moves things around, make sure everybody's happy, and then comes out with the perfect 11 at the right time, and makes sure, this is important as well, that those that don't play still feel important. He's done that all his career. And it seems like with the help of Davide, his son, he had a lot of work, physical work and tactical work to make the teams even more sophisticated. So that mixture works, and Real Madrid want that to stay for longer.
Somehow he always ends up with a lot of socarat.
Hey, one thing we do know, Real Madrid, they're feasting tonight, a celebratory dinner after this big news. So, Guillaume, thanks so much for taking the time to join us to talk more about Ancelotti's future with Real Madrid and the contract extension.
No problem. Happy New Year to all of you.